Welcome to 44 on 1 with GVizzle and Tempest. Like and subscribe, and here we go.
So yeah, today we've got a brilliant one with ex-porn star Stirling Cooper, because of course we have subscribed to his newsletter because it's fucking hilarious.
Ex-porn star turned, what would you call him, a pickup artist?
I don't know, maybe like some kind of alpha red pill bro weekly shagathon.
Pickup artist is fewer syllables. Let's go with that. So yeah. Porn star turned pickup artist.
Yeah.
And what bothers me a little bit about his, if we just get into writing style first before we get into content, his egregious use of italics, underlining, bolding, full caps. It's like it's written by an excited 14-year-old wrote this.
Yeah, exactly. For if not more excited 12-year-old reader.
And you're going to read it to us in your best Stirling Cooper voice.
No, I'm not. But we're going to take this one apart because I can use my expertise on this one in epidemiology and healthcare research. Because he's saying, fuck her like this and she'll do whatever you want.
Whatever in all caps.
Yeah. What's the best thing you could do for a woman in the bedroom, GVizzle?
If it's Stirling Cooper, it would be stay out of my bedroom.
Yeah. Well, apparently, aside from giving her multiple orgasms, it is this. Plastering her with load after load after load, ... without losing your boner. Picture it. You blow your load, stay fully hard, bang her again, and shoot another load, still hard, keep banging her, link provided, and so forth. Women go crazy when you do this for them.
I'm just going to pause right there to say that I don't know a single woman who would go crazy for this.
Yeah, it sounds tiring. It
sounds exhausting and messy and sticky and wet. Like there's nothing pleasant about this.
Well, it definitely sounds like a porn star wrote it, because porn is very much nothing like sex.
Exactly. Like after all of these bangings and loads, like shit starts to chafe. You get tired. Yeah. Like this is real life, buddy.
Yeah. And there's stuff that seems cool in your head, and then you act it out, and then you're like, okay, that wasn't as fun as I thought.
Side note, I was on Reddit the other day, and someone was asking people who have been in threesomes, what was it really like? Is it like it is in the movies? And this woman had said it took her and two men she was with about 2 minutes to get into the double penetration position. And about seconds into the actual act, the men were like, no, I can feel him inside you. And
yeah.
And then it was over. So it's never what you think it's going to be.
No, I've been in a 4-way situation, and it was quite fun because there was 4 people. I think that's definitely better than a 3-way, because
no one's left out.
Yeah, everyone's busy all the time, but it affected the friendship afterwards.
I could see how that would be the case.
Yeah, and there's a lot of psychology going on where you're always thinking about other people and what to do, and your mind's always somewhere else. It's very hard to be as centered and as attentive as you would be in 2-way sex.
And I imagine, like my husband and I, he was offered a threesome, but we turned it down. But I imagine
yeah, sorry about that.
If both people, no, we turned it down, not you. If both people in the couple were like fully on board, I could still see there being some like, oh, you made a noise with that person that you didn't normally make with me, or you said a thing like after the fact in recounting the scenario. I imagine there would probably be some insecurities that may not have been there before, but could have reared their ugly head as a result.
Yeah. And it's distracting in the moment as well, because it's kind of like you don't want to be enjoying it too much with this new casual person while your regular person's there. And it's like you think you start to second guess yourself. Like, well, I'm really enjoying this, but how is she going to feel about it if I look like I'm enjoying it too much?
But shouldn't you though? Like, wasn't that the whole point? But then I
Yeah.
get what you're saying. Let's get back to Stirling.
Yeah. But no, the whole point of that though is to say that like what he's saying in the email is nothing like real sex.
No.
I've never known anybody that wants to be like getting load after load after load, quote, plastered on them and just want to go for hours and hours. Like have you ever had it where neither of you are close to coming and then you're just going through the motions and you're doing it for a few hours and then you're just like, why are we even doing this still? Like you're trying to get
that scenario.
Yeah, you're trying to get to the end, but neither of you can. And then so you just kind of get to the point of, well, what's the point in doing this? And then that kind of feels like what that would be. Like just no total gratification.
Well, he's giving her multiple orgasms. But he's now giving himself, this is about him now becoming a multi-orgasmic man.
Yeah.
With his handy dandy $60 supplement.
Oh, it's worse than $60, by the way. Okay, so what this is, this whole email is a pitch to buy his medication. And this is where I come in as a healthcare researcher. So he has this page explains you exactly how to reduce your prolactin levels. And
sorry, I just want another couple lines in the email when he says, and when you do it for them, they'll do anything you want in bed. I really do mean anything. Does he really have the words? Because every time we see like you talk about the differences between men and women, right? There's a lot of difference sexually, what sexually motivates, what sexually pleases, but he is now just reducing both parties to just make her feel really good, and then she'll be this like weird little horny slave. And it's so weird.
It cheapens it, doesn't it?
It does. It totally does. And it's like this weird manipulation. Like she'll do anything you want in bed.
Yeah.
If it's your partner, shouldn't you be having those conversations instead of trying to manipulate her with your like gassed up jizz?
Yeah, your wonder wang.
It's okay. So it is about reducing prolactin levels. And what does prolactin do?
Yeah, so prolactin is a hormone, and it's related. It's mainly something that affects women, because to do with milk production and breast tissue, stuff like that. Yeah, but that's not the only thing it does. So what you want with your hormones is you want this thing called homeostasis, where your body regulates itself and keeps your hormones balanced. You don't want too much or too little of it. But what he's claiming is that lower prolactin levels in a man's body will shorten his recovery times to be able to have sex quicker again, right? After shooting your load. Okay. And he claims, his bold claim is that you get your prolactin levels low enough, then you can have multiple orgasms. Like not just ready to reload and go. He's saying you can full on have multiple orgasms just by reducing your prolactin levels, which then comes in with his pitch of when it's at full price, you can get a 6-month supply of this medication called Fire, which he calls a libido booster. And it's $594 for a 6-month supply. Oh,
I was just looking at the one-time.
Oh, the one-time purchase.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I'm seeing it. But the reviews, Chris. Way more energy, feeling more confident. I finally have the confidence to talk to attractive women. I don't know how one has anything to do with the other. The combination of wood and fire made me hard as a fucking rock in the bedroom. Wife can't get enough. We've not had this much sex since we first met. The problem is I couldn't keep up with her. Once I started taking wood, she wanted me to fuck her all the time. Waking up in the middle of the night, first thing in the morning, she was like a horny teenager.
Wow.
So, when I looked up low prolactin levels orgasm men, it said men with levels of prolactin that were lower than average although still within the normal range, but lower than average, say their sexual function was getting worse, particularly their enjoyment of orgasm.
Yeah, well, actually, this is on studies, like real studies. It's in the Journal of Sexual Medicine. Low prolactin is associated with sexual dysfunction and psychological or metabolic disturbances in middle-aged and elderly men.
So he's just trying to increase your frequency of orgasm, but not the quality.
Yes. So men should have between I think 2 to 18 nanograms per milliliter of prolactin in your body, right? And then so once you get below that 2 nanograms, then you start getting sexual dysfunction, you start getting psychological problems, and none of that is covered in his sales pitch for this fire.
No.
And considering that what he's claiming is, so there's like 6 ingredients in this medication. What is it? L-tyrosine, maca root powder, vitamin B6, vitamin E, ashwagandha, and zinc. Now, I don't know about what it's like in Canada, but you can get vitamins and zinc and everything for about 50 pence in a bottle. Like that happened a lot in the pandy. You could just buy these cans of bottles of like vitamins really cheap, less than £1 a go, and that'll do you for a few months.
Yeah, you could buy everything that's included in this separately for cheaper than a bottle.
This is something that we're noticing at the moment a lot with, because I've done a bit of work with the FDA in the past. So the FDA have to, you have to get past them to be able to market these medications. And one of the things they've got, I think is it the maca root or the ashwagandha, it's one of them, is seen as a superfood. And then that means that they're able to sell it as a nutrient supplement instead of medication. And that means they can fuck with it more.
That's shady as fuck. But if we look at, so I saw this website, Metropolis Healthcare, hacks to lower your prolactin levels. You could do it pretty naturally. Avoid gluten, avoid alcohol, vitamin E and vitamin B6, which Stirling has. Balancing blood sugar, avoid high intensity workouts, avoid stress, avoid wearing uncomfortable clothes. So you could do it on your own.
Yeah, but also you got to think that this is something that should happen naturally in your body. And if you're living a healthy life, then your prolactin will, because of homeostasis, so it will find naturally where it's good for you. Like your pituitary gland is basically the environmental controls for your body. And that basically manages the supply of prolactin in your body. And then if you're living your life the way that you should be living it, then you're going to have a good amount of prolactin. And then that means that if you're trying to artificially reduce it, you could reduce it to dangerous levels in a way that is uncontrolled, because you don't know, like in these tablets, you don't know how much of each of these 6 ingredients they're putting in each tablet. And because it's all lumped into one, you won't know what is bringing it down too much. And because you're fucking with it artificially, you could really screw up your endocrine system. It's really fucking bad. Like, I can't tell you how dodgy this is. And
it's super dodgy. And his reasons for doing it, I mean, it's not, can you make a multi-orgasmic man? But do you want to make a multi-orgasmic man if the side effect is going to be that you don't, that you're not having that same enjoyment of your orgasm? He goes into the bottom of the page. He goes into each of the supplements separately.
Yeah. But never speaks about prolactin itself. That's something I noticed. He did like he did a thing on most of the ingredients by saying it does this chemical or this nutrient does this, this, and this, and that's why it's good. And he keeps mentioning low prolactin levels, but in none of his pitch does he tell you about prolactin. He doesn't tell you what it's for and what the limits are in your body of a healthy prolactin level. He just says all of this lowers it. Now I can shoot multiple loads.
And he's got a lot of, look what Stanford University said.
Yeah.
Plucking, cherry picking lines out of content.
Because this is the other thing that, that if unless you're a scientist, you won't know, which is that one study isn't a good evidence base. And he keeps saying this study proves this. But the studies never prove something. Nothing is proven in science. It suggests, it indicates.
And you would be able to find a number of studies that would disprove it because it's the internet, and that's what happens.
Yeah, that's what science does, is that
people think there's enough evidence to prove that the Earth is flat. So it's not like you can't find what you're looking for if you look.
Yeah, so you need to get like a whole body of work, a whole bunch of these individual studies, and then you do something that's called a meta-analysis of them, which takes into account the strengths and limitations of each study, and then what, as a group, all of those studies are saying, and then we can find out, oh, is this prolactin thing good or bad, and is this medication good or bad? You can't do it on one study. That's bad science. And he keeps trying to say in there that he's a nerd and he likes science and analytics and everything, but he hasn't got a Scooby. He doesn't know how any of it works. And the biggest bone of contention I have with this is that he's claiming load after load, that you could do it all the time, constantly have multiple orgasms. I don't know about other guys that are listening to this, but I know if I ejaculate 3 times in a day, my balls hurt, okay? It gets sore. And there's less and less each time. So I call bullshit on his claim.
But again, he's not talking about the quality.
No.
It's just quantity. Like he's still thinking like a porn star, not like an actual person with a real life partner who has to get up and then go do things afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's 5 pills a day. 5 small, easy to swallow, high quality capsules of fire a day will boost your dopamine and optimize your prolactin levels.
Jesus, 5 a day. And
it's
then
proven to work. It's underlined, so you would think that's a link, but it's not.
Yeah. And one of his studies is from like 1994.
And like the fact that he thinks being a porn star is a credential.
Yeah.
So it contains the exact nutrients in the exact ratios and potencies I use to transform myself from a nerdy research scientist into a multi-orgasmic award-winning porn star. To date, I've filmed 435 scenes.
So it's like, wow, you've gone back in life then, have you? Intellectually. One of his selling points was that, the first time she was really hot, so I was able to perform. The second bird I had to have sex with, she didn't turn me on as much, so I realized I was going to struggle. I was like, what?
It cheat-proof your relationship. Women don't cheat on men who give them what they want in the bedroom. That is 1,000% false. Women don't cheat on men who give them what they want in the household.
Yeah.
In the bedroom, in the kitchen.
And there are some people that just lack morals and ethics and they'll cheat on you, whatever. There are some people that are addicted to sex, which I might argue that he might be. They'll cheat on you, whatever. Some women will have all of their bedroom needs fulfilled and will still cheat on you because you don't fulfill their spiritual and intellectual needs. And depending on the individual and what their priorities are in life, you need to get the right balance of the needs that you're fulfilling.
Exactly.
You know?
It has very little to do with what's happening in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Manufactured in the US is an FDA registered GMP certified manufacturing facility. So that says nothing about the pills themselves, just where they're made is good.
Yeah.
That's being like, I have the cleanest meth lab around. Like that's
yeah. My employees all wash their hands.
No more feeling insecure, lonely, or depressed, longing for companionship. Women love confident, sexually capable men. And once they find one, they want to keep hold of him. But you can be confident and sexually capable without having to take 5 pills a day.
And without, this is the other thing that I was thinking about this, is that he's trying to associate being confident, being able to approach a woman and go on a date with her. He's associating that with shooting loads and banging all the time. Those two things are separate. You have to learn social skills to be able to approach a woman. That has nothing to do.
What's this guy going to do? Is he going to just walk up to her and be like, I can shoot 6 loads in a row? She'll be like, oh, all right, good for you. You'll have choice with women. Most men settle down with any woman they can get. When you take fire, you'll be able to have any woman you want, even if she's out of your league based on her looks and physical appearance. How so? You're not,
bollocks.
Even if that's true, you still have to convince this woman that this is what you have to offer. And that's really not what most women want.
And this is what I really hate, is that he's obviously preying on vulnerable men with this. Men
Yes,
who might be a bit younger, they might lack social skills, might not have much experience. And it's like, it doesn't matter how good you are in bed. Like, I've been involved with people where we had a lot of chemistry physically, but there was no relationship to build on because we didn't have any connection in personality wise. You could be as good in bed as you want to be, but if the woman's not into you as a person, it won't fucking work.
Exactly. That's when you have a friends with benefits scenario.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to a relationship than just sex, which is part
Exactly.
of what. But I think that's the type of guy he's talking to. Like, if you spend time on some of the subreddits that I troll for podcast content, all of the guys are trying to win over women sexually, and the women show up in the comments constantly being like, we don't care. We don't care about any of that. And there's very much like the Stirling Cooper kind of guy of like, women, if a guy did this, would you be all over his dick? And women are like, no, because the bedroom is still just one component of a healthy relationship. And it's not even, for most people, not even the biggest component. There's so much more that goes into it.
Well, this is the thing. I think that the men and boys, mostly boys, I suspect, on those forums, I think that they're being lied to and co-opted by cynical people like Tateys, like Stirling Cooper, men like that, and they're basically farming them and perpetuating this really unhealthy worldview of what women are. And they basically tell each other what women are like and rope each other into this club or this gang. And then but then they wouldn't have believed it if these dickheads weren't putting these ideas in their head in the first place. It's like they find the exact thing that these men are uncomfortable or insecure about, and then just needling that. It's horrible.
And then those men, the men who then start to believe it, never believe women when they tell them the opposite.
Exactly.
Because they'll have women in comments saying, no, this is that, like, and it's not just a smattering of women. Like, women show up in the comments in the dozens, and men are still like, no, you're just lying because it makes you look bad to do this thing, or you don't want us to know the truth. So even when women tell men, these types of men, the truth, they still don't believe it because some guy who made a stupid supplement called Fire.
Yeah, like $100 a month that's going to come to.
And he's calling it a libido booster. So it's not like he's done.
So
he's not even naming it how he's selling it.
And then this other thing as well, that basically if you buy into this and you get this medication, right? But you're a single man who feels lonely and has difficulty talking to women. All this is going to do, if it works, if it even does boost your libido, it's going to make you more sexually frustrated than you were before, because now you've got this increased libido and you haven't got an outlet for it because he's not addressing that. None of his content is about how to connect with a woman on a spiritual and intellectual level and form a stable, functioning relationship with them. No,
that's not what he's about. He just wants to sell these shady pills.
Yeah. It really angers me, genuinely. It upsets me to think that, like, there's all these young boys and men out there who are just they buy into this shit. But he's playing on all of your fears and all the things you're worried about.
And, like, even the pictures he's got is just him. They're very sexually charged pictures.
Yeah.
Except for the one where he's looking into a microscope.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man.
I don't know. It just, I'm banging Jack H. I'm banging 3 different women. She can't get enough of me. Made me driven and determined, and it feels great.
I see. On my list of things when I was growing up that I thought would be cool to do, having multiple girlfriends at one time, it wasn't not as fun as I thought it was going to be.
It sounds exhausting, actually.
It was. I was fucking knackered. and everything was above board. Like they were all cool with it. But then it was when I had to go to work every day, so I'm getting up at like 5:30 in the morning to go to work, and I've got college classes as well. And then so it's like a Wednesday. I've been up since 5. She was the first lass was to see me on the Wednesday night. She stays around Wednesday night. I get 2 hours sleep. I go to college the next day. Go all the way to college. Come home with the other lass on the Thursday night. Again, got 2 hours sleep. I had to get up at Friday in the morning, and the first lass wants to see me again after work, and I had to go out Friday night, and I was useless. I'd had like 6 hours sleep in 3 days, and then
I'm exhausted for you.
yeah, it was like
But
it's not a brag.
He's just constantly selling shit. So he sent that email yesterday, and the day before, he sent what I drank before every porn shoot. Try it. And it's another product. This one's called Wood.
Fire and wood.
Not fire and wood. So this one, I'm harder and lasting longer in the bedroom. I feel like a rock star. She called me a beast. These are the testimonials. I was hard as a rock. We're now in a relationship and doing great. I lost count of how many times I made her come. She said she loved how big and hard I was. Wood is amazing. I tried a bunch of supplements to improve my performance and nothing worked. Just a bunch of random companies selling snake oil. Unlike
Mr. Stirling.
This one includes L-arginine, L-citrulline, horse chestnut extract, vitamin K2, pomegranate extract, beetroot extract, and horny goatweed.
Horny goatweed.
And it's male enhancement.
I can't. I believe we have a Am I the Arsehole that we can do now to lighten the mood a bit after this anxiety inducing.
We do. I'm curious about what else he's trying to sell. Oh, bang her 3 times a night. Oh, that's more wood. His Clubhouse New Year sale is on. Wood helps you get it up, and fire boosts your sex drive. That's not what you said. That's not what you said.
No, you promised multiple orgasms, mate.
And yes, load after load after load.
Yeah.
Ugh, God. Clearly he doesn't do his own laundry, or he would know how unpleasant that sounds.
Yeah.
Okay, am I the asshole? This one had a lot of mixed emotions in the comments. Am I the asshole for telling my husband that he needs to give me half his company if he wants me to be a housewife? My husband and I, both 35, have been married for 6 years, and we have 2 children together and 1 on the way. He said that he wanted me to be a housewife and stop working. I was very disturbed by that, but he explained that it was better for our family and children since he can afford a very good living. After a few weeks thinking, I told him that I would agree, but only if I get half his company. He was surprised. But I explained further that the more I stay home, the less chance I would have to find a well-paying job should we ever divorce, because I would have less merits while he would still be making more money each year. So I want half the company. If we never divorce, which is the goal of all marriages, then it wouldn't matter. But if it should it end, it would be the price of me staying home and raising our children so he could be less worried and stressed out, his words, that he would be less anxious and stressed out that if he knew they were with me rather than with strangers in daycare or nannies. When I told my friends, they called me the asshole. My best friend was very angry and called me disgusting. So I'm taken aback a little.
Yeah, I think that any time when a partner has moved the goalposts, I think that's where you got to put the blame on this initially. Is that, I mean, I take it they were married already, and they've now just had kids, and now he's saying, "Bitch, I want you at home."
Now that the third one is on the way, he wants her at home. And she said, fine, but pay me.
Yeah. And I think, or more like, let me have a nest egg in case we have a divorce. I need to be protected. Exactly. Yeah. So
yes,
I think,
because she raised an excellent point that if she were to stay home with the kids for the next even 5 years, that's 5 years out of the job market. She's putting her career on hold, and in some industries, even killing her career entirely.
Yeah, I don't think she's the arsehole, to be honest. I think if if anything was different, there is asshole potential, but I think in the way that it was presented to her and what her options are, I don't really see a problem with it.
Yeah, if she had said, I want to stay home, give me half your company, that would have been
Yeah.
one thing. But he
Yeah,
said, I
exactly.
want you to stay home. So, okay,
Yeah.
give me something that
I
is going to protect me and the children afterwards. Like a lot of men that I see on a lot of these subreddits, and not am I the asshole in particular, but it did come up in the comments, want that traditional woman to stay home, not realizing if shit goes south, that traditional woman who's been at home has no transferable skills. She's not
Yeah.
able to get into the workforce. So you created this monster for yourself by complaining afterwards about child support and alimony. Had she worked, that would have been less of an issue. She would have had her own nest egg or her own money.
And if they'd been addressing this as a possibility before they got married, and so he's not just foisted this on her and she knew what she was getting into, then that's a completely different thing. She's just trying to level the playing field with negotiation.
I agree.
You know, and the fact she's willing to do it, I mean, she should be praised for that, because it is something that I think is affecting society, where when your kids are really young, they do need a parent around, particularly if you can't trust anybody to do it for you. And so many kids are abused or neglected and all of that because one of their parents isn't around. And then some third party will take advantage of your kids. So I think the fact that she's recognized the benefits of that and understands his argument, then fine. You know, so I think that she should be getting more support.
Absolutely. She's protecting herself and her children in the event that something happens in their relationship.
Yeah, what if he fucking dies in like 5 years and she's been staying at home for 5 years and then all of a sudden he dies? She has no rights in the company. And then what? Do they have life insurance? I hope they do. You know, so she's being savvy.
She's being very, and that's what a lot of people were telling her, was that she was protecting herself. But but then there's all the people in the comments who were calling her a gold digger. It's like, well, they're either a gold digger or she doesn't have the right to it, because if the business was existed before they got married, that's his business. He doesn't have the right. But if they divorce in the future, she will still get something. She's just protecting herself now. Put it in writing so she's got something.
Yeah, and it's not even about her anyway. It's about her kids. That's what she's doing it for.
Yep.
And the other thing is that, you know, the guy could negotiate his way out of it. Like, she's not literally saying, give me half your company. She's saying that it's like a symbolic thing, right? So she's saying, if you translate it, she's basically saying, I want to make sure that me and the kids are protected should you die or we get a divorce.
Exactly. Because in it, she says, if the marriage lasts forever, which is the plan, it's completely irrelevant. Nothing ever happens.
Exactly.
I think couples need to be more realistic. A lot of couples don't want to have that conversation of the if it goes south, but half of relationships do. So you've got to be realistic and have that conversation of what's going to happen if this doesn't work.
Exactly.
You don't wait until you hate each other to have that conversation and then you're battling it out.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think that when you get, I mean, because more men are doing it now than they used to. Like when you have one parent or one partner that isn't bringing in the same resources that the other partner is, but they still act in a supportive role, enabling the primary resource getter to do their job. If you're in a supportive role like that, you have to make sure you're protected. Otherwise, you don't get anything. And then, because it shouldn't be underestimated that even though you're not the main breadwinner, that you do give a lot to that other person to enable them to be as successful as they are. And that does need to be recognized.
Absolutely. And you're working toward the same goal. I mean, if you're truly in partners, you consider yourself partners and you're going to, ride it out, ride or die. It doesn't really matter who contributes more or less financially, domestically, if you're sharing the load. And it's not like so many couples I've seen are like, well, I make more money, so I'm going to do less at home, or I work in a different industry, so I'm going to do less at home. But it's still your house, it's still your future, it's still you're working towards it. There's this nickel and diming is not setting anybody up for having a healthy relationship.
Exactly, because you're turning it into a competition and point scoring. It's like, well, I earn 100K, you earn 58K, so you only get 58% of whatever, of the
Or those
resources.
couples that split everything 50-50.
Yeah.
And I see this a lot. And like, I have no qualms. If you want to split things 50-50, that's fine. But it's got to be at the lower earners threshold.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I saw one where I think one of them made, I think, 100 grand. The other one made, in your scenario, 58. But they wanted to live this $100,000 lifestyle, and the 58,000 person was like, I can't even afford. I'm paycheck to paycheck doing this. So if you want to split it 50-50, you've got to live at that 58,000 person's threshold, which means, yeah, the 100,000 person's got a lot more money in the bank, which that's how you want to split your finances. Cool. Yeah. But I wouldn't want to see, if I was in that scenario, do you really want to see your partner struggle financially when you're making it rain?
Yeah.
I can only afford rice and beans.
Yeah. I mean, this is the way we think about it, is that we've been together 10 years now, and there's been different times that one of us has been earning more than the other, and that's been different all the way through. And we don't even think about it. It's kind of weird. It's just, well, you just have it at the back of your mind, like, all right, well, they're struggling or I'm struggling, then that other person will take up the load.
Yeah, but at different times, both of us have been unemployed, and there was no, I'm going to cover the mortgage this month, but then you're going to owe me.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'm taking you out to dinner, and all of our money has always gone into the same pool. It goes into the same pool. The bills come out of that same pool. We invest for our future. It all comes out of the same place.
Exactly.
If we were to split, unless it was really ugly, if we were to split, and I can't imagine that being the case, it would be, we'll split everything 50-50 because we didn't factor in who was contributing at what points.
Exactly. You do it in the spirit that the relationship was.
Exactly. And it's our relationship, it's our money, it's our house, it's our goals.
Exactly. Yeah. And in the I kind of like, if you take the money out of it, how would you feel about something else? Basically, that's what I try and think of it like. So just for example, so I live with a disability with my back. So if we're thinking about the household chores, there's something that's less intense than money, that there are times where I can't do as much as my partner can. So, there might be a few weeks where she takes the bin out in a row, like it's usually my job, but if my back's really bad, I can't do the shit. So, if we were in that sort of, like you said, nickel and diamond type of relationship, she would be keeping notarized records of how many times she took the bin out, and then I'm gonna have to pay it back somehow. Like, that doesn't work in a relationship.
No, there's never it's your turn.
No, exactly.
It's, you see something that needs to get done, you do it. There are times where I've had back issues. My husband has knee issues, so we'll just do what needs to get done because it's our house. Like, it's
exactly.
Our house, our life, our everything.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing it any other way. And then bringing it back to like this Stirling Cooper thing earlier, that where he sees relationships as this purely mechanical thing of shooting loads and banging away, and then that'll solve all your problems. But that has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. That
the real life of it.
Yeah, like
he's talking about the fantasy of it. He's trying to build these guys up to thinking if you can shoot 4 loads in a row, you're gonna walk into a bar like the cock of the walk and be like, it's not gonna do anything for you, and it's not gonna do anything for you in a relationship. If you please her sexually, but you're a shitbag everywhere else in the relationship, it's not gonna last.
Yeah, and then if you're the kind of you want to be a kind of guy that does what he says he's going to do, is going to be there when people need you, and is easy to get on with, and then you could connect with somebody who shares your political values, your morals and your ethics, and has the same outlook on life as you do. That's why it is hard finding, it's not that hard finding somebody to go on a date with and stuff like that. It's hard finding somebody to have a relationship with. Yeah.
That's why all those shows like The Bachelor and 90 Day Fiance, instead of sending these couples on these spectacular luxury trips in which anybody would fall in love because of the scenario, get them to sit in front of a sofa with a Netflix controller and try to pick a movie. Go to the
yeah,
grocery store together.
yeah,
Do the shit, the mundane, everyday shit that
yeah,
couples do, and then see if you can make it. Because anybody can fall in love on a fucking beach at sunset.
yeah. And
Can you
talking
still
about
love somebody when you want to watch Daredevil and they want to watch something?
yes, yeah. Well, we have a system that we use for finding something to watch. Is that we'll have a show that we're watching, and that's always the fallback, right? And then if she's doing dinner, she'll shout, "Right, you got 10 minutes to find something to watch," and then so I have 10 minutes to look, or we're watching Jack Reacher again. You know?
That's fair.
Yeah.
I've recently started watching Big Bang Theory. I never got into it when the show was on, but now I don't know if it's a marathon. We've been getting these free previews of channels, and it is on constantly. So we just have it on in the background, and I regret not having gone back to watch it now. But that's our thing. It's like, well, let's scroll through Amazon Prime or Disney Plus for a few minutes, and if we can't find anything, Big Bang Theory's on.
Yeah. I found it was all right apart from the last few seasons. I quite enjoyed the rest of it. And they did really well Sheldon's character. That's kind of what my internal world's like.
They're not playing them in order, so everything is out of order.
Oh,
so
really?
So I've seen Bernadette and Howard have their second kid. Meanwhile, the next episode will be them on their first date. So
oh, that's annoying. That's so weird.
I have no idea what the order of things is.
I've got a mate that looks exactly like Bernadette. It's weird.
She's adorable. She's got the most striking posture.
Yeah.
So there was a show, I don't know if you had of it. It was called Night Court. It was on in the 80s. So they've rebooted it, and Bernadette plays. So I don't know if you remember the show, but it was Judge Harry Stone. She plays his daughter and has taken over Night Court. And we watched the first episode, and she didn't have the Bernadette voice, and
it's disconcerting.
I couldn't get over it.
Well, she doesn't sound like that.
I couldn't get over it. I was like, but that's Bernadette. That's how she's supposed to sound.
Yeah. It's so funny with my mate because she's married to the guy now, but like they're watching Big Bang Theory together, and she could see like he kept looking over at her and then looking at the TV, and then she was like, "What?" And he was like, "You look exactly like Bernadette. That is so weird, but so awesome."
She's adorable.
Yeah,
she is adorable. It's a good show. I'm kind of glad that the free preview of that channel is coming to an end because I'm getting Big Bang Theory'd out. Because it's on. It's not only on, like it's on 2 channels simultaneously. So we'll occasionally during a commercial, we'll just go back and forth. We don't even care that the stories are getting muddled. Let's just go back and forth between the 2.
Yeah. What's it on Amazon? Is it on Freevee or something else?
Not on Amazon. It's just on our regular one of our TV channels.
Oh, right.
We've scaled back all of our cable. So now we're relying on free previews to get good stuff. I canceled Food Network. I miss all my cooking shows.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I still have a couple of baking shows I watch. Over the years, I used to be really into cooking shows, like cooking competitions like Chopped. And then I started watching baking shows. And now I cannot watch cooking shows anymore because chefs are terrible people. Like when you watch Chopped, so the competition was, I don't know if you have it in the UK, but it's 3 different chefs. They cook an appetizer, a main, and a dessert. After each course, one of them gets eliminated until there's a winner at the end. And they will be shitty with each other. They'll shit talk the ingredients. They'll shit talk their competitors. If someone needs like, oh, who's got the cinnamon? They'll have it on their workstation and they won't say anything. They're just awful. But then when you watch baking shows, as soon as someone's finished baking, like, who needs help? What can I do? Like, they're just, I don't know what it is, but they're just so supportive and lovely with each other. When they win, they're genuinely happy for the person who wins. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I think the one that surprised me the most is Gordon Ramsay. That like he's actually a really decent bloke. Like you got like that really sweary, angry chef guy, but he's actually a really wholesome dude.
When you see him on the show he does with kids, he's super genuine and supportive, and he's just awesome.
Yeah, and I think he'd be one of those people that you'd really learn a lot from working with, and then so I think that like these other like wannabe chefs kind of see him doing his spiel and then think they know why he's doing it, and then they end up hazing and roasting their competitors, but really they're just coming across as wankers. Whereas Gordon Ramsay always has a point.
He does, and he pushes people to be their best.
Yeah.
I mean, he may do it in a way that's not palatable for a lot of people, but it's not, you can't say that anybody coming out of his kitchen hasn't learned a shit ton.
Yeah.
And there's a former contestant. I don't know if she won because I don't watch Hell's Kitchen, but she was a contestant in Hell's Kitchen, and she's got a TikTok now. And she made Gordon Ramsay's beef Wellington. And then he stitched her video, and he was just like, he was like a proud papa. He's like, I'm so proud of you. You nailed it.
It's awesome.
He is a genuinely good person.
He's done a couple of videos with Uncle Roger, isn't he?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. I always found their banter pretty good.
He does have a good sense of humor.
Yeah, because like Jamie Oliver, I don't think responded well to his Uncle Roger roasting his recipes. It was so funny.
I've owned a few. I own a couple of Jamie Oliver cookbooks, and I like his food. I cannot watch his show. His energy is just so manic that I can't. I don't know. Like, he jumps and he pops, and I just settle down.
Everything's so pucker in it. Pucker. That's his favorite word.
Is it? I've never noticed, but he's just, his movements are so manic, and I don't know what it is. I can't watch him.
Yeah.
I like his cookbooks.
I'm not big on cooking shows in general, mainly because it's a reality TV thing. I struggle with reality TV because I hate the whole, here's what we did last episode, and then we'll build up the episode. Now it's an ad break. Before the ad break, we had this, and then now the characters are doing this. Next ad break.
But that's why I like cooking shows, because there's, if it's like a one-off, like Chopped, the competition begins and ends in the same episode. Something like the Great British Bake Off. Yes, you're following those people for a while, but there are some where it just starts and ends in the same. So there's no last time on. It is what it is.
First We Feast, the guys that do the hot wings, hot ones, I mean.
Okay,
yeah, their channel's not too bad. They have like, amateur chefs on there and stuff, and then they sometimes go out to those food trucks and always have that really nice looking American food. Yeah.
There used to be one on, I know the hosts were named Anna and Christina. They had a couple of shows. I think it was Anna and Christina's Grocery Bag. So they would take a cookbook, pull 3 or 4 recipes out of the cookbook, make it exactly as the recipe, so no straying from the recipe, and then they would bring in a professional chef who would assess the recipe, and at the end they would say whether or not they would buy the cookbook. It was kind of a review of the cookbook, but as they would go through it, they would also test out different products. I actually bought cookbooks because of them. Didn't buy ones that I thought about because they were like, oh, this, either it's too fussy. They did this one for Jamie Oliver because he had a 20-minute meals app. So they timed it 20 minutes, and they're like, unless you do a shit ton of prep work, none of these recipes can be done in 20 minutes. Like, you have to, or you're spending more money on buying pre-cut products for the convenience of it. You've got to, instead of waiting for your pot of pasta water to boil, you're boiling it on a kettle. So it's still taking up time. Like, all these little tips and tricks were not making it a 20-minute meal. It still took more time. Yeah. So it was a really cool show. I'm sad that they got rid of it. They had a version of it for beauty products too. Yeah. Where they would test all the claims that beauty products would make. Yeah. It was very cool. If anyone's watching, bring back Anna and Christina.
What was that on? Like a YouTube show or a TV show? It
was on TV. I'm sure there's hopefully find that on YouTube, but it was a TV show. I think it was based out of Vancouver. And it was delightful because they had their personalities came out. One of them was a little bit swearidocious. The other one was a bit. She took in one episode, I remember she took a coconut outside to try to hammer it on the street so it wouldn't break inside, but then I think it rolled down the street or something. Like, it was a good show.
I like Nigella Lawson's recipes. I find they're quite decadent, but yeah, I really like her food.
Although, didn't she get in trouble once because she did this whole segment on avocado toast, which was really just toast your bread and put avocado on it?
No idea. Like, that does sound like something that she would do.
Thanks for that.
In one of her episodes, though, like I think this is quite heavily memed, is that she went to put stuff in the microwave, and she used the family pet name for a microwave. And she jokingly said microwave, and like, and then nobody's ever let her live it down since then. And then now, every time she's saying to put something in the microwave, she just can't even say it properly anymore because she's always thinking about this stupid thing that she did once.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
She is. I haven't seen her in a while. Does she still do cooking shows?
I think so. The last thing I remember hearing about was that like her horrible husband had like grabbed her by her throat in the restaurant.
Jesus.
He had her pinned against the wall by her throat and was shouting at her in a restaurant.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And there was something about how she used to do cocaine, but who didn't in the TV industry. I don't know why that was news.
It's not a surprise. It'd be surprising if she didn't.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the show? It was a British cooking program called Two Fat Ladies.
I've heard of it, but I've never watched it. It's supposed to be good.
They were horrifying. One of the everything they made was like wrapped in bacon and stuffed with butter.
Oh yeah. British
and one
diet.
of them always had like really like long red nails, so you'd see her like grabbing the butter and shoving it into a partridge. You're like, woman, wash your hands. They were very entertaining though.
Lacerate the chicken with your nails.
On that note,
Yeah, fade to black.